喜欢 Oh it's like 怎么不喜欢 Oh more like 不得不喜欢 Oh
Hello doctor, hello everyone, we are Group 10. And today we are going to present on the topic of educational leadership and learning-focused communities. Let me briefly introduce our team members and their parts in the presentation. My name is Meng Qingyi. I will start by defining the key concepts. We now will analyze the core content through comparisons between different countries including charts and data. Gao Yiyun will explain how leadership is applied in real-world educational practices. Yun Ziwei and Zhang Xingqi will provide an integrated analysis of both leadership and learning communities. Liang Xingyue will conclude the presentation with a summary of key points. Okay, let's begin with the definition of educational leadership. Educational leadership is not just about managing schools, it's about leading learning. It refers to how school leaders like principals, department heads, and instructional leaders work to improve both the performance of the school and the learning outcomes of students. This includes setting clear goals, building a strong school culture, supporting teachers' professional growth, and guiding teaching and learning practices. According to the resources, effective educational leadership plays a key role in educational reform. It moves beyond administrative duties and focuses on improving instruction and student achievement. In short, good leaders help both teachers and students do their best. Okay, now let's move on to the second. Learning-focused communities. A learning-focused community is an educational environment where everyone, leaders, teachers, and students, works together with one main goal, improving student learning. These communities promote collaboration, shared goals, reflective thinking, and continuous professional development. According to the resources, leaders who focus on learning can make it easier to build professional learning communities or pairs. When leaders focus on learning, they encourage teamwork, shared decision making, and teacher involvement. This creates a strong, supportive environment where teachers and students can grow together. Therefore, leadership is not only about guiding others, but also about building a culture where learning never stops. Okay, my part is done.
Hello everyone, my name is Wu Yinan. For my part, is learning focus, community core content, and case analysis. So I will introduce what is the learning focus community. A learning focus community is an educational environment where all members, teachers, students, and administrators collaborate to protect students' learning through continuous improvement and reflective practice. And for the learning focus community, have the characters. The one is collaboration, two is continuous improvement, three is centered, four is reflective practice, and five is the shared vision. But the learning focused community have the three key characteristics. The first one is the collaborative culture. It means teachers plan together, observe each other, and solve problems as a team. And the second one is continuous improvement. It means teachers use the student data and the reflection to consistently refine instruction. And the last one is the student-centered focus. It means the teaching focus on the students' interested and the needs with the personalized strategies. And the next one is the case studies. The first one is the Finland country schools, is teachers work on the basic of collaboration and trust, emphasizing the combination of teaching and the research and the teaching freedom. All schools follow the national core curriculum framework, but teachers have a high degree of autonomy, emphasize the concept of the teacher as researchers, and encourage continuous learning and the teaching innovation. But Finland teachers enjoy the high autonomy and engage in the collaborative curriculum in innovation, and learning focused culture is deeply in the daily teaching. And next one is the Singapore teachers case study. The Ministry of Education promotes the implementation of professional learning communities (PLCS) in schools, but each school set up a learning group to conduct periodically reflection and experiments around the teaching topics. The government support the teacher professional development, including the regular seminars, online platforms, and the cross-school sharing. But for the conclusion is Singapore support the PLCS where teachers regularly co-plan and give peer feedback. This this is collaboration improve the both teaching and the learnings. And the next slide is a comparison chart. This slide highlight the key difference between the traditional school community and learning focused communities. But for the traditional schools, teachers often work along with the little collaboration. In the learning focused communities, teamwork is strong and the teachers share responsibility for student success. Instructional change in traditional schools is slow and experience-based, where learning-focused communities use data and reflection to improve the continuously. Students are usually passive in traditional classrooms, but in learning-focused communities, they are active learners with personalized personal support, but the feedback in traditional system is slow and formal. In the learning focused models, feedback is quick and ongoing, helping teachers adjust in the real time. Finally, while the traditional schools offer the professional development, learning-focused communities grows into daily teaching through the collaboration. Overall, these comparisons show how the learning-focused communities better support both teachers and students. And the last one is value and the inspiration of learning communities. The first one is learning communities are a culture transformation. The second one is the core is the collaboration and student contributiveness. And third one is continuous improvement promotes professional growth. And the fourth is the successful case provide models for reference. The last one is inspiration for traditional schools. But for the conclusion, learning focused communities promote the teacher collaboration, student centralized, and reflective teaching, making them effective for the both teacher growth and the student success. That means the traditional schools can adapt the model to drive the meaningful change. Okay, this is for my part.
Hello everyone, today I'd like to share with you my reflections on the topic leadership in practice within learning focused communities. In traditional education system, leadership often meant administrative control, making decisions, enforce policies, and managing tasks. But in a learning-focused community, leadership is no longer about authority. It's about guiding, supporting, and inspiring growth among teachers, students, and even parents. Reconstructing leadership roles in this context, leaders are not simple instruction givers. They are facilitators of learning. Principal and middle-level leaders act as teaching and research guide, resource coordinate, and control shapers. Their responsibility is to create a learning environment where continuous reflection and growth are embedded in daily practice. Building professional learning communicate. One powerful strategy is to build professional learning communicate. These are collaborative groups that help teachers learn from each other through real teaching problems. For example, a group might ask flow questions like, how can we improve reading comprehension for lower grade students? How do we increase student engagement in the classroom? Through structured discussions and shared experience, teacher growth, and so does the school. Distributed leadership. Effective leadership also means sharing responsibility. It's not just the principal who leads. Teachers can be mentors, coordinators, or leaders of instructional change. When teachers are empowered, their motivation increases, and so does their commitment to improving classroom learning. This is what we call distributed leadership. Data-informed decision-making. Another key part of leadership in practice is using student learning data to guide decisions. This includes assessment, student feedback, homework analysis, and classroom observations. When leaders and teachers analyze this data together, they can better understand what students need and adjust teaching strategies accordingly. Reflective practice. Finally, leaders must foster a culture of reflection. Teachers should be encouraged to ask themselves, why am I teaching this way? How can I improve? Organizing regular teaching, roundtables or forums, gives teachers space to reflect, share insight, and grow together. In summary, educational leadership today is not just about managing people, it's about leading learning.
Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. Today I'd like to share some thoughts on how learning communities shape and transform leadership, particularly in the fields of education and community development. In traditional leadership models, especially in schools or community governance, leaders were often seen as managers or supervisors. However, learning communities are challenging this notion. They are reshaping leadership from a top-down, authority-based model to one that is collaborative, reflective, and participatory. Let's begin with the core transformations that happen when leadership develops within a learning community. The first one is redefining the role of leaders. In a learning community, leaders are no longer just decision makers. Instead, they become facilitators of learning, providers of resources, and cultivators of culture, creating safe, open, and trusting environments. Leadership becomes less about control and more about guiding shared growth. And the second one is developing skills through collaboration. Learning communities are built on collaboration. As leaders work alongside others, they learn to coordinate diverse voices, improve their communication and listening skills, and manage teams more effectively. In this way, leadership becomes relational, not just positional. Another powerful aspect is reflection. Leaders in learning communities are encouraged to regularly question their decisions, values, and impact. Through feedback and peer dialogue, they develop greater self awareness, critical thinking, and a higher capacity for adoption. They essentially become learning leaders, always growing, always improving. And the next one is promoting distributed leadership in a learning community. Leaders Leadership is not limited to those in formal positions. Everyone is encouraged to lead in their own capacity. For example, in teacher professional learning communities, experienced teachers often take turns guiding decisions and organizing per observation. In community initiatives, residents lead projects and make planning decisions together. This leads to distributed leadership, where non-official leaders also emerge and contribute meaningfully. Lastly, building shared vision and responsibility. Learning communities are built around shared goals. This instills a deep sense of mission and responsibility in leaders. They begin to care not just about performance, but about the growth of people and the system as a whole. Leadership becomes purpose driven and human centered. Now, let me give you two powerful examples. The first one is teacher learning communities in Singapore. In Singapore, most schools have established teacher professional learning communities. Teachers meet regularly for collaborative lesson planning, per observation, and reflective discussion. This has changed the leadership dynamic in schools. Middle managers, like heads of departments, now act more as facilitators than supervisors. Informal teacher leaders emerge, taking initiative in group research and discussions. Leadership is now shared, reflective, and embedded in practice, making school improvement more sustainable. And the second one is DSNI, a learning community in Boston. The Dudley Street Neighborhood Initiative in Boston is a model of community-led development. It brings together residents, non-governmental organizations, schools, and local government in a learning-based governance progress. The key impacts on leadership include decentralization. Residents help design and lead projects like housing or youth programs. Grassroots empowerment. Young people receive training and real roles in decision making. Here, leadership has transformed from being managed to self management, built on inclusion and participation. And in conclusion, these two examples, one in education, one in community governance, demonstrate that learning communities shape leadership by expanding who leads, transforming how leaders behave, and grounding leadership in shared growth and mutual learning. In today's complex world, we don't just need leaders who manage, we need leaders who learn, reflect, empower others, and grow with their communities. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jiangxin Qi. Welcome to my part. Next, I will discuss about educational leadership promotes learning-focused communities. Firstly, we can see the chart shows the different types of leadership content. From that, we can find educational leadership, particularly transformational and distributed leadership, plays a critical role in advancing development of learning-focused communities. Through these leadership styles, leaders not only plan and allocate resources effectively, but also they enhance the participation of community members. First, the essence of transformational leadership lies in inspiring and motivating members to drive social innovation and change. In learning-focused communities, leaders can integrate resources from multiple sectors to engage community members. The example of this is a Helsinki adult education program. The program shows transformational leadership was successfully applied. Helsinki attracted resources from various sectors, including business and universities, providing a diverse
range of learning opportunities that significantly increased community engagement and social cohesion. The leadership style encouraged leaders to focus not only the effective of use current resource, but also on attracting external resource through forward-thinking planning. Such efforts create a diverse learning environment for community members. It enabling continuous innovation and growth within the community. Then, for the distributed leadership, it emphasizes the decentralization of responsibility and the sharing of authority. Through this leadership model, the community members are encouraged to take an active role in designing and implementing learning activities. This approach significantly boosts the interactive and innovation of community activities. So for this kind of leadership, I found the example is the lifelong learning communities in Los Angeles. These communities utilize distributed leadership to adjust educational policy flexible, and it ensuring that content of and format of educational programs can meet the diverse needs of residents. Leaders closely with community members to ensure the activities are directly response to the community demands. So, the effectively driving the development of learning focused community. So for to better understand, let's explore the challenges, strategies, and the results achieved in that two cases. First, for Helsinki, they established working groups composed of educators, policymakers, and private representatives. They jointly plan the curriculum based on the community needs assessment. These groups ensured that learning programs aligned with labor market demands and social integration goals. Second, the program launched flexible module courses, such as short-term IT training, internship workshops, and language programs. They both delivered online and in local community centers. This hybrid format helped overcome geography and time constraints. It's attracting more adult learners. Third, leaders secured co-funding through public and private partnerships using budgets in combined with support from local companies and EU social development funds. Last, leaders using local media and cultural events to promote lifelong learning and build public trust. As a result, the participation rates significantly increased, and many participation report they enhanced skills by this activity and a stronger sense of community identity and belonging. So, for the Los Angeles, the key action was the formation of local learning committees. It composed of teachers, social workers, parents, and learners. They co-developed curricula tailored to the needs of diverse neighborhoods. So to enhance accessibility, the city launched multiple functional learning hubs in public libraries, parks, and cultural centers. These hubs offered module courses in areas such as digital literacy, ESL, etc. Many seasons were led by community volunteers. They trained through leadership development workshops organized by education department. Leaders also introduced microgrant schemes, allowing residents to propose and fund their community learning projects, such as oral history programs or neighborhood science clubs. Through these actions, distributed leadership in Los Angeles empowered citizens become both learners and leaders. This inclusive model strengthened civic participation, made lifelong learning more relevant and community-driven, and it forced a culture where education is seen as shared public responsibility. So, for the inclusion, educational leadership plays a pivotal role in forced learning-focused communities. These leadership models are not mutually exclusive; they complement each other. When effectively combined, they help build inclusive, adaptive, and sustainable learning ecosystems. These are my reference. Thank you for your listening.
Hello everyone, I'm Liang Xinyue, and I'm responsible for presenting the conclusion of our group project. To begin, our findings clearly show that educational leadership is the driving force behind effective learning communities. It's not just about managing schools, but about creating a shared vision, fostering collaboration, and supporting continuous improvement. Learning communities thrive when there's strong leadership that emphasizes professional development, student-centered teaching, and a collaborative school culture. Now let's look at how the role of educational leaders is evolving. In traditional models, principals or school leaders often act as supervisors, but in learning-focused communities, they become facilitators of learning. They guide teacher development, create open and trusting environments, and learn alongside staff. Leadership is no longer about commanding, it's about inspiring and serving. Moving to leadership styles, we identify two key approaches: transformational and distributed leadership. Transformational leaders, like those in Hanseke's adult education program, are visionaries. They bring in external partners and innovate learning experiences. Distributed leadership, say in Los Angeles, shares authority across the community. It allows teachers and even residents to take initiative and lead. These approaches help learning communities become more inclusive and dynamic. These ideas come to life through real-world case studies. In Singapore, professional learning communities empower teachers to grow together and take on leadership roles. In Boston, the DSNI project turns residents into decision makers, building community ownership and local leadership. Both cases prove that learning communities are not just about education, they are also incubators for leadership. To wrap up, educational leadership is no longer a top-down model. It's becoming more distributed, collaborative, and people-centered. As learning communities grow, leaders must adapt by listening, sharing power, and focusing on relationships. Together, leadership and learning communities are reshaping education for a more equitable and sustainable future. Thank you, everyone.